The Amityville Horror, an infamous name in paranormal lore. What started as a terrifying story soon became a worldwide sensation, sparking books, movies, documentaries, and endless debates. An infamous name that still sends chills down the spine of anyone familiar with it. A story that began with a tragic massacre, followed by a haunting that would become one of the most talked about and debated paranormal events in history. But is it true, or is it just the stuff of legend? Tonight, we delve into one of the darkest and most controversial tales ever told, the Amityville Horror. In November of 1974, the DeFeo family was brutally murdered in their home by one of their own, Ronald DeFeo Jr. He shot and killed his parents and 4 siblings while they slept. The crime shocked the small town of Amityville, New York, and became one of the most infamous family murder cases in history. But what happened next is what truly turned this house into the stuff of nightmares. But the tale doesn't end there. Just a year later, in December 1975, a new family moved in. George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 young children, thought they were moving into their dream home. The Lutz family had no idea about the horrors that had taken place within these walls. But soon, they would experience something far worse than they could have ever imagined. Little did they know, they were about to become part of a story that would captivate the world. It started innocently enough. Strange things that could be explained away. The temperature in the house seemed to fluctuate wildly. The family began noticing strange smells, like a fetid odor that would come and go, or the sound of unexplainable noises at night. But as days passed, the phenomena grew more intense. George Lutz reported feeling an oppressive, cold presence that seemed to follow him throughout the house. He would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, hearing strange noises, and even feeling as though something was physically present in the room with him. One night, George described seeing something that would change everything. A large, pig-like creature with glowing red eyes, staring at him through the window. It seemed to be watching him, waiting for something. But it wasn't just George who experienced these disturbances. Kathy, his wife, also began to feel the weight of the house's dark presence. She began to see shadows moving in the house, and would sometimes hear voices calling her name. Worse still, Kathy's youngest daughter, Missy, claimed to have made contact with an invisible friend named Jody, a name that seemed eerily familiar. It was said to be the spirit of a young girl, or perhaps something much darker. As days went on, the family began to feel the house's influence more deeply. They described objects moving on their own, doors slamming shut, and even physical attacks. George, in particular, seemed to be the target of the house's malevolent force. His health began to deteriorate and his behavior became erratic. The paranormal activity escalated to the point where the Lutz family could no longer bear it. After just 28 days, they fled the house, leaving behind all their possessions. They would never return. Their experience was the stuff of nightmares, a tale too terrifying to ignore and yet too strange to fully believe. The Lutz family's account was published in 1977 as a book titled The Amityville Horror, A True Story, written by J. Anson. The book became an instant bestseller, capturing the imagination of readers all over the world. What followed was a media frenzy. The house became an attraction, drawing paranormal investigators, journalists, and thrill-seekers, all eager to learn more about the horrifying events that had taken place within its walls. And of course, no horror story is complete without a movie. In 1979, The Amityville Horror was adapted into a film, which was also a massive success. The movie, which was a blend of fact, fiction, and chilling suspense. It cemented the house's place in popular culture and sparked a wave of sequels, remakes, and documentaries. But even more than that, it raised questions that persist to this day. Was it all real? Or was it a carefully constructed hoax? Despite the criticism, there are those who believe that something truly dark and unexplainable occurred at 112 Ocean Avenue. The fact that the Lutz family left in a hurry, abandoning their possessions, only added fuel to the fire. Today, the house still stands, though it's been remodeled and its address changed to protect the new owner's privacy. The once famous 112 Ocean Avenue is barely recognizable, its windows altered and its facade transformed. But the legacy of the Amityville Horror continues to haunt the town and the minds of those who still ask, what really happened? Was it a house cursed by the DeFeo murders? Was it an elaborate hoax orchestrated by the Lutz family? Or was it something else entirely, something darker, more insidious that lies beyond our understanding? Perhaps we will never truly know. But the story of the Amityville Horror remains a chilling reminder of how fear can shape our world, and how one house will forever be etched in the annals of paranormal lore. And so the mystery continues. But what makes the Amityville Horror case so compelling and so controversial is the question, was it real? Let's take a look at some key pieces of evidence and dive deeper into these mysteries. What is the most convincing piece of evidence from the Amityville Horror case? One of the most convincing pieces of evidence often cited is the famous green ooze that allegedly oozed from the walls and windows of the house. The Lutz family claimed that this eerie substance appeared without explanation and was a sign of the house's malevolent forces. However, no physical evidence of the ooze was ever collected, leaving the debate open. Other strange phenomena, like a haunting voice saying, "Get out," and the children waking up with strange markings on their bodies, added to the mystery. Do you believe the Lutz family's claims about the hauntings? That's the question that continues to spark debate. Some believe the Lutz family's claims are genuine, especially considering the history of the house. Others think it was a publicity stunt, an attempt to cash in on the DeFeo family murders. The Lutz's story became a book and eventually a blockbuster movie. Could it all be fiction, or was it a genuine experience? What are the theories about why the DeFeo family murders occurred at 112 Ocean Avenue? Many theories about the murders range from Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s possible mental illness to claims that the house itself was cursed. Some even suggest that the house's dark energy could have influenced DeFeo to commit the killings. Was the house just a tragic backdrop, or did something supernatural drive him to murder? How has the house's reputation impacted the Amityville community? Since the Lutzes fled in 1976, the house's notoriety has had a lasting effect on the Amityville community. Locals have reported an increase in tourism, but also an influx of negative attention. The once quiet neighborhood is now associated with dark and creepy tales. It's even become a popular stop for paranormal enthusiasts. Have any current residents of the house reported paranormal activity? As of today, the house has been sold several times, and the current owners have not spoken publicly about any supernatural occurrences. In fact, most reports say the house is quiet, with no green ooze and no ghostly voices. This leaves us to wonder if the Lutz's story was true. Why hasn't anyone else experienced anything similar? What is the most famous paranormal phenomenon associated with the Amityville Horror? Perhaps the most famous phenomenon is the image of the ghost boy captured on a photo taken by paranormal investigators. The photo shows a mysterious figure of a young boy peering out of a doorway, which some believe is the ghost of one of the DeFeo children. However, skeptics argue it's a trick of the light or a camera glitch. Still, it remains one of the most compelling images tied to the Amityville case. Is the Amityville Horror a hoax, or is there a possibility of truth to the story? The debate continues. Some believe it's all a hoax, exaggerated by the Lutz family for fame and fortune. Others argue that something truly terrifying happened in that house, and the Lutzes were simply the victims of paranormal forces. Whether it's a hoax or an actual haunting, the Amityville Horror still fascinates people worldwide. What are the key differences between the true story and the movie depiction of the Amityville Horror? The movie adaptations, especially the 1979 film and its 2005 remake, took significant creative liberties. While the core story is based on the Lutz family's experience, many of the paranormal events depicted were amplified for dramatic effect. For example, the movie version portrays extreme paranormal activity, like the house turning red and swarming with flies, events that were either exaggerated or never mentioned by the Lutzes themselves. So, is the Amityville Horror a real haunting, or is it all just one of the greatest hoaxes in history? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.